Oh, Jesus. Hello and welcome aboard another episode of the Gallant Says podcast. It is November 24th of 2024, and I mean, what else is there to say? The Texans look like a bunch of frauds after a 32-27 loss to, of all teams, the Tennessee Titans. Let's go.
A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
Paul Gallant's wondering the same things a lot of people are.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to say.
Fucking grow up, motherfucker. Are you kidding me?
Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
When I was a younger hot take artist, I used to throw around the F-bomb with regularity. I'm not talking about that one F-bomb or the other F-bomb. I'm talking about the word fraud. I used to call everyone a fraud. I did that because growing up a New England Patriots fan, it was very difficult for me to be impressed by anything in the NFL. So generally, any team that seemed like they might be a team that could actually upset the Patriots, I generally thought they were frauds. There were exceptions. Some, it's because they occasionally beat the Patriots, the Ravens, the Giants. Others, they actually ended up being the very frauds that I thought that they were. So I called everyone that. And I think at a certain point in time, the word lost its luster. But today, November 24th, 2024, given the preseason hype, given the preseason expectations that were attached to this team, now it's 7-5 after a loss to a Tennessee Titans team that looked completely lost literally weeks ago. Hell, a week ago. How can you say the Texans are anything but frauds, pretenders, charlatans, fake news? Because they are telling us that what they are is what they do every single Sunday. Their actions are showing that this is a team that just does the same thing week in, week out. It's over and over and over and over again. Who would they beat in the playoffs today if they made it? Answer that question for me. And I know some people are joining in on the chat. We've got some folks on Instagram at Sports Gallant. We've got some people on X, on YouTube at Paul Gallant, on Twitch at Gallant Says, Facebook.com/Paul Gallant Sports. Who would they beat? Don't give me that bullshit about how they beat the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are coming off of a win against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they traded for Amari Cooper. They are a significantly different team since they traded for Amari Cooper. They're much more competent on offense. The Chiefs? You fucking kidding me? That's not happening. And I know the Kansas City barely squeaked one out over a Carolina Panthers team that beat the Texans last year. Anything can happen in the NFL. The Panthers can almost beat the Chiefs. The Titans can beat the Texans. But don't even try to pull that shit saying that this team could beat Kansas City. Don't, okay? We don't need to do that. Then you've got the other teams that you're hoping the Texans are in the same category as. Are the Texans going to beat a team in the Baltimore Ravens who beat them by a combined, 60-20 last year? My math is slightly off, but it was very one-sided. So let's put that one to the side. You're in the same category as these 4 teams. I guess it's 3. My math, not great. I had to have a scotch after the show, okay? The Chargers. Chargers haven't really played anybody. We'll see what they do on Monday night against Baltimore. But Justin Herbert's playing well. He only has 1 interception on the year. Their defense is making the most of what they've got. And they've got Jim Harbaugh as head coach. Who would you rather have as a head coach right now? Jim Harbaugh or DeMecoRyans? Don't even bother answering that rhetorical fucking question. The honeymoon's over. We're in the real world now. You should be looking at your quarterback and your head coach the same way that I've been for now a month. If you're not, I don't know what to do. Do I grab you and shake you? Really, I don't know what to do. The other teams that you're in the same conversation as now, and this is probably going to piss you off, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 8-3, and yeah, lost on Thursday Night Football to Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns in the snow, with George Pickens fighting people in the midst of a Hail Mary, and the Denver Broncos, who have won 2 games in a row with Bo Nix looking better. You're in the same conversation as those two teams. And yeah, you have the better quarterback than those 2 teams, but he's not playing like the better quarterback. So a team that going into the year, we thought was a Super Bowl contender. We thought had a chance of making it to the AFC Championship game. Is this. That makes them frauds, right? And if you got a counter argument of some sort, please give it to me. But I've accepted that this is what they are. I'm not even that mad. Not even that mad. This was an embarrassing loss to a bad team with a head coach that I don't know is going to survive the year, with a quarterback that might not be starting in the NFL next year. And you made that team look really good. You made that offense look incredible. I was listening to this on the Westwood One broadcast leading up to Sunday Night Football. The Titans haven't scored over 20 points until today since September 30th. The streak, I believe, 8 games? 7? Of less than 20 points is the longest stretch of that for the Titans in 18 years. We're going way back in time. And you made that Titans offense look unstoppable in the first half. I mean, the defense is your strength. Cooper Rush and the Cowboys couldn't do a damn thing against you on Monday. But Will Levis is pantsing you? Calvin Ridley's a good player. Tony Pollard's a good player. Okay. But their tight end, Okonkwo, is catching running a 70-yard touchdown against you? Where's the effort to try to track that guy down? I'm going to read some comments on YouTube at Paul Gallant. Stick a pin in them, folks. When it rains, it pours, says Sneakers Most Wanted. The Texans do not have an answer. Nico was supposed to fix everything, right? Bobby will be better. Bobby Slowick. Next week, right? CJ will play better, right? That was an assumption a lot of people were making. And something that I've not even really pushed back on, to be perfectly honest. But we've been seeing the same thing over and over again. At what point are you going to accept that this is what they are? Frauds. More comments. Willow 20, I will lose to the Jets a million times before I lose to the Tennessee Titans. Well, guess what? You lost to both in a month. I don't even know what the worst loss of the year is. Is it losing to a Jets team the way that they did in Thursday Night Football, where the Jets just dominated them in the second half? Or is it this one? DeRhino1 on Twitch says, pulling out a marker to write a sad face on a paper bag as we speak. Look, it's not that bad. But compared to the expectations, they're frauds. Pretenders. You can use whatever word you want. You can try to soften it. They aren't a real contender. And I'm not even going to get mad at people for not showing up at NRG Stadium. The stadium was empty 5 minutes before kickoff. Why would you want to go to a Texans-Titans game when the only thing that can happen is something bad, like what happened today? That's the only thing that can happen in a Texans-Titans game. You being disappointed. And now this little cupcake buffet that you had leading up to that stretch that you have at the end against a Dolphins team that is slowly rising up the AFC rankings. They're 5-6 after 3 wins in a row. And then you've got the Chiefs Saturday in Arrowhead Stadium, and then the Ravens. How are you going to do? Your cupcake buffet features one more team that should be easy to beat, the Jacksonville Jaguars. In Jacksonville this Sunday. How confident do you feel about beating a team that has quit when you struggled to beat them in a game where many would argue they had already quit? Ask Texans sideline reporter John Harris, who felt that he was reading quitting body language before that Texans barely victory over Jacksonville a couple of weeks ago, I guess a couple months ago. Aquarpio Leonine says, "We are the best team in the worst division. It is what it is." Yeah. I mean, at least the NFC West doesn't have any bums. But the AFC South is all bums, except for you. I don't know how many people played Age of Empires 2. There was a sound effect you could use where it would say, "All hail, King of the Losers." And I mean, that's kind of what you are right now. I guess you could make a case the NFC South is worse, but I mean, if you're the Texans, you can't really look down on anyone right now. Sneakers Most Wanted, this really hurt today. I feel like a fraud supporting the Texans. I mean, I guess there at least weren't as many of those weird Houston-based Titans fans there. Junior Bronco says, "Not upset because win or lose today, the Texans are going to win the AFC South, maybe win a home playoff game, and then get trounced by Baltimore or Kansas City by 20+. Well, you seem to forget Buffalo, too. I feel like Buffalo can do it, too. I know that they beat Buffalo. I think Buffalo could do this. Yoshi Effect Win asks, "Do you think CJ Stroud is having a sophomore slump?" He is slumping. It is his second year. I don't think that he is having issues because it's his second year, and I feel like sometimes that definition implies that, but yeah, he is. There's no debating that. I know that some people might have seen on X my back and forth with @Texans commenter. It seems, at least on Saturday, last night, it seemed to still be happening. He took shots at my co-host. Not a fan of that. Might talk about it on the show this week. I don't know if I should. I feel like we were cordial today, but whatever the case. Yeah, he's struggling. Old school _S7 says, Bo Nix or CJ Stroud. I mean, if you're a troll, you can ask that question, and at least a few people will be on your side. I saw that one of those aggregator accounts posted that people are asking for Deshaun Watson back over CJ Stroud, and that's a load of shit. I don't believe that for a second. I think Figgy, my guy from 610, he tagged me and said that a guy, a prominent person on Texans Twitter, Corey Barrett, was saying that. Corey Barrett, to his credit, has been one of the first guys saying, hey, CJ's not playing that well. And I'll give him credit. I won't go so far as to say that early Deshaun Watson was better than early CJ Stroud. I think they're about on the same level. I think that's a tweet that he was talking about, but that ML football account turned it into something it wasn't. These fucking engagement accounts. Oh, God. Anyway, I'm jealous because they're better at the internet than me. Brandon Halam says, Eric Murray single-handedly knocked our defense out of being a top 3 defense. You know what? There's been so many shitty things that happened in this game. Did Eric Murray give up the 38-yard touchdown pass to Westbrook, or did he get crossed up with Jimmy Ward on the 62-yard throw to Westbrook-Akeen? Wait, hang on. That was Calvin Ridley. Did he fuck up the catch and run by Okonkwo? I honestly don't even know. We bring out the best and everyone says sneakers most wanted. I guess we are once again the frauds. Ezekiel Tovar comments, Stroud is shook. He isn't playing like himself the way he was early this year. The second half offensive play calling is soft and bad. The defense is different without Petrie. Yeah, Jalen Petrie, a pectoral injury of some sort. We'll see when he comes back, but definitely not looking good. MND Productions says, I went to the Lions game and Titans game. I think I'm done with NRG for the season. I don't blame you, because that area around NRG Stadium blows. I don't know why they haven't blown up the Astrodome. I don't know why they think that Astrodome solution. There's a video I have in the holster for Thanksgiving break from the radio show. I don't know why they think that area will ever be good. Yeah, why would you want to go down to that area? There's nothing there. Chris G, like a broken record. The offensive line is terrible. Can't run block, can't pass block, continue to commit penalties. Stop running up the same offensive line. It's not going to get better. Well, what else are you going to do? You don't really have any other options. This is all you can do. And it turns out, as I said, after that win against the Cowboys, like the way that Joe Mixon is playing, it's at such a high level that he's overcoming shaky play by the offensive line. And I know he had big games against the Cowboys and Patriots, but I feel like he was doing a lot of that on his own. He had a couple of big runs. And the Texans offensive line, it's just not good at really anything right now. I guess it's better at pass protection now, but what the fuck does that mean? Joan, hi Joan, saw a comment that said this is DeMecoRyans. You know, I saw something else, Joan, on X or Twitter or whatever it is last night, and I know that Ime Udoka and the Rockets had a rough night on Saturday where they lost to a team that they had no business losing to, but it showed DeMecoRyans and Ime Udoka next to each other, and then it showed a golden retriever and a cat next to each other. Because I guess it says that D'Amico is maybe a little bit too lovey-dovey with his players, and perhaps Ime Udoka is a little bit too much of an asshole, like most cats are with his players. Junior Broncos says Age of Empires 2, phenomenal soundtrack, and says I should go after at Texans commenter. I'll save that for another time. I know people are here for the post-game show right now. So this is my big concern with the Texans. You know how we talk about the little things? They're not little things anymore. Paul, what do you mean by the little things? I mean small mistakes that are bound to happen over the course of a game. If they happen every single game, are they little mistakes still? No, they can't be. The little mistakes have become big mistakes. And if you're making fucking 11 of these over the course of a game, and it's not getting cleaned up the next week, then what are we doing? Tomorrow's show, I'll play some audio of interviews that I did on the radio and on the stream, which will happen at 3:30 tomorrow. Some of my interactions with Texans players afterwards. They don't have an answer. I asked CJ Stroud point blank, what can be done differently to clean up the little things? And he said, I don't know. Here are all of the little things that turn into a big list that took place. 11 of them. I wrote down very extended notes. Number 1, Daria Gunbawale just leaving the ball in the end zone on a kickoff. What the fuck was that? I'll again ask, what in the fuck was that? Frank Ross is going to chew him out for that. I don't want Daria Gunbawale back there returning kicks anymore. He has another occurrence on this list, and the guy barely plays. The Texans should have lost a playoff game for fucking that up in 2020. Remember that? I do. I remember watching that game, Texans and Bills, and there's a kickoff into the end zone, and they just leave it there. What the fuck are you doing? It's a live ball. It's not a punt. It's not college. I'm glad they brought that rule back, and I heard Andre Ware say that on the radio broadcast. He's glad they brought that rule back. I am too. It's so fucking stupid. The ball's live on the field. Didn't go out of bounds. Just catch it and take a knee. That's 1. 2, someone completely forgot Westbrook-Akeen. I don't even know who he is for that 38-yard touchdown pass on the Titans' second drive. Just completely forgot about him. Wide open. And this is a issue that happened last year and this year. Splash plays. The Texans allow a lot of them. Can I tell you how many they give up relative to the rest of the league? No. I'm not watching every single game. But if DeMecoRyans is a defensive-minded head coach and this continues to happen, you got to wonder about how good he is at correcting stuff like this. Number 3, Dameon Pierce has a 48-yard kick return after the 80-yard kick return he'd had. And a holding somewhere by MJ Stewart negates it. I don't think it affected the play in any way. Pierce was just running through people right up the middle. But there goes a little momentum that you got from that return. 4, I don't know how the Texans ended up in a situation where Jimmy Ward, who is not the fastest guy, is guarding Calvin Ridley one-on-one downfield. But that happened, and he got toasted. He looked so slow on that play. He had zero chance. 5, back-to-back false starts after a screen for a loss on their 9th drive, which set up an insurmountable 3rd and 16. I mean, this offensive line, at least most of them spoke after the game. I'll give them credit for that. I've been annoyed that Titus Howard has been seemingly ducking, doing camera interviews with the media. I asked him a question. Hey, how do you guys clean this stuff up afterwards? I respect that he actually sat there and took the question, but I'm getting frustrated with his play. I'm getting frustrated with Juice Scruggs, who spoke about it. Jaret Patterson, same thing. They all know that they're screwing up. There's so many penalties like this, though. Laramie Tunsil got called for a false start. Titus Howard could have been called for a false start on that very same play. So the insurmountable 3rd and 16 on their 9th drive. That's it. Ball game. Number 6. We're halfway through the big list of little things. They didn't even try to tackle the Titans tight end Okonkwo on a 70-yard catch and run touchdown. Guys, Okonkwo is a tight end. And it looked like no one wanted to tackle him, and like they were all surprised. I asked Jimmy Ward about that play after the game. I was trying to think of a way to get the best possible answer out of him. He was on the far side of the field, and he said, that was a tight end, right? The answer he gave, there was a pause, and it felt like he wanted to say things, and he was holding back. I'll give him credit. He's a veteran. He knows better. No one even tried to tackle Okonkwo on that play. Andre Ware, who has been fantastic this year in color commentary because of the many Texans mistakes that they've made, said that it looked like the entire defense was watching Gladiator 2 on the play. And I don't disagree. I don't know what they were doing. It's a tight end. You should be able to track him down. Daria Gunbawale back for number 7 on the big list of little mistakes. Muffs another kick return. All right, he didn't fumble it away, but he muffed it. Number 8, Tank Dell, with another drop on 3rd down. Defender made a nice play on the ball, but his hands were on the football. Got to catch it if your hands touch the football. He's had worse drops this season, and I will give that Titan defender credit. Still, got to catch the ball, dude. 9, the illegal shift that nullified the Nico Collins catch and run touchdown on the second to last drive, which was arguably the most frustrating drive of the game. Nico Collins has 3 touchdowns since returning from injury, and 2 have been called back by dumb penalties. 2 illegal shifts, 2 things that did not impact the play whatsoever. This is basic shit. You had Joe Mixon, and I think it was Tank Dell, both in motion at the same time. I forget who the other receiver was. It might not have been Tank Dell. Whatever the case, what the fuck? It's stuff like this. It's illegal man downfield on screens. It's illegal formation. It's stuff like this all game that really sets the offense up to fail. And you're not even surprised when you see it. Now at this point, on big plays by the Texans offense, you are waiting for a flag to be dropped so that you can yell at your TV. We're not done. We still got 2 more on the big list of little things that fucked the Texans over today. 10, a holding on Jaret Patterson on that same drive takes the Texans from 1st and 10 at the 11 to 1st and 20 from the 21. They were never able to overcome it, leading to a field goal attempt from 28 yards. Kaimi Fairbairn has 12 makes from 50-plus this year, an NFL record. And we've still got, doing a little math here, off the top of my head, oh, God, we still got 5 games left. He missed a 28-yard field goal. Can hit him from 50. He has missed 2 field goals of less than 30 yards this year. 2. The little things. They're not little anymore. There's so many of them. This is a massive list, and it's every week. And the biggest problem of all with these little things that are clearly no longer little, even if the Texans think that they are, there has been no correction. That's on the head coach. That's on the quarterback. It's happening every single week. At what point are the biggest CJ Stroud fans and biggest DeMecoRyans fans who were getting pissed off at me a couple of weeks ago for just asking if DeMecoRyans is ever going to be one of the best coaches in the game? Where the fuck are you now? And what are you saying to yourself right now? Because we're not seeing progress from either of them. It's year 2. That does not mean that they cannot continue to improve. We always should be striving to improve in life. But week to week, these things happen over and over again. And just based off of talking with the offensive lineman after today's game, it doesn't really feel like there's been much of an effort at practice to fix this. And look, maybe the practice effort doesn't fix this, but something has to change. And it's why people get so frustrated with DeMecoRyans at these press conferences when he's so positive. Oh, how are you positive? This happened last week. It happened the week before. It happened the week before. They're not the little things anymore. This is the big thing that is the reason that the Houston Texans are frauds. 11 things this week. Go back. You could probably make a list of 8 to 10 for every single game the Texans have played this year. Win or loss. And you're never going to be perfect out there. But it doesn't feel like this team is striving for perfection. I saw after Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs barely beat the Panthers, Mahomes afterwards said he wants some blowouts because the Chiefs haven't gotten any. By the way, they were undefeated until last week. And they still know that they can go to a higher standard. Fuck off with all this positivity. It's time for some fire and brimstone on Kirby Drive. And I don't know where it's coming from. I really don't. More comments before we take a look at CJ Stroud's issues. Junior Bronco says, you can go to Golden Corral, then Big Lots. How long before CJ Stroud demands a trade? Oh, man. This is a little concerning, isn't it? Let's talk about the quarterback. CJ's struggling. I know he had a couple of wow plays, splash plays, but, and I'll talk about him real quickly. Drive 4, he has a bomb across his body while rolling right to Tank Dell. And on the 10th drive of the game, he throws it to Dell and Collins on the right sideline for a first down. He made some nice plays in this game. But all quarterbacks are capable of doing that, as we saw from Will Levis. Here are some of the issues that I saw. Some struggles. First, a high throw to Joe Mixon that set up a 3rd and 12. Incomplete pass. The throw that was picked off, intended for John Mechie. Maybe there was some miscommunication there, but if you couldn't see John Mechie, why are you throwing it there? Take a look at Stroud's comments after the game. He said he couldn't see Mechie, and on the broadcast, they were talking about miscommunication. You've got the low throw to Nico Collins on 3rd and 4, right after the Titans had muffed the punt again. Come on. You know, he was open. You got to make that happen. You have the near interception on the first play of the last drive. And then, of course, you have CJ Stroud's Dan Orlovsky moment, which, oh boy. I mean, that one's going to get memed. That one is going to get memed by every single person who thinks the Houston Texans are frauds. Every single person. Oh, jeez. So that's Stroud. Let's talk about game